My name is Seneca Lee, and I'm the program coordinator for the Master of Science in Environment and Sustainability Management at Georgetown University. So the next couple of slides, I'll just be providing a very brief overview of kind of the environmental and sustainability landscape across the nation, the United States. And then I will pass it to my colleagues who will share a little bit more about our program specifically. Okay, so this is a quick snapshot that I found on a LinkedIn Economic Graph Global Greens report of 2022. Basically the trends are showing that green jobs are growing fairly exponentially, and the World Economic Forum has predicted that there will be 24 million jobs created in the green sector by 2030. So I pulled this chart just to highlight a few of the job positions that we are seeing growing over time. So what you can see in this graph are job titles like solar consultant or regulatory affairs consultant, sustainability manager. What you can see is that these are growing in the short term based on the y-axis, the x-axis, sorry about that. And these are also growing in the medium term based on the x-axis. So the trend is definitely positive. Green jobs that require green skills, the darker the circle, the more green skills necessary to succeed in the job. So job titles and green skills are growing over time. And to support that, we are also seeing more and more environment and sustainability programs, particularly masters or even more advanced, growing across the United States. So for the next slide, awesome. So this is just six universities that are also having environment and sustainability programs at the master's level or even a bit higher. There are more, but these ones are pretty comparable to our program at Georgetown. One thing I'd like to note that I noticed when I investigated these programs is that they're all interdisciplinary and they have a lot to offer, but very few focus on sustainability and business. And that's where I think our program provides a unique perspective that we aren't seeing across the nation quite yet. So just speaking from experience, I received my master's from the University of Michigan in environment and sustainability with a focus on conservation ecology. And when I was in my job hunt, one of the things I believe I was missing was a strong understanding and the skill sets needed to enter the corporate sector. I have no regrets, but I don't think I had the skills necessary to kind of push change in the business sector. And with that being said, I do find that this program, the Master of Science in Environment and Sustainability Management at Georgetown, does provide our students with the necessary skills and understanding to enter the corporate world and push sustainable strategies. So with that in mind, I'm going to pass it to my colleague who's going to tell us a little bit more about the program. And also, if you would like more information, we are having an info session tomorrow, 12:30 to 1:30 EST, and we can provide that information if you're interested. Or you can find it on our website. Okay, passing it to Program Director, Dr. Kerrie Carfagno.
Thank you so much, Seneca. I appreciate that. And we were lucky to get Seneca from the University of Michigan program. It is one of those things that there are a lot of great programs out there. The reason that I love this one and that I think our students are attracted to it is that it is half science, half business. So you get a level of integration that you don't normally get in a program of recognizing all the different pieces and how they come together. So with this in mind, we want to start with a video that's been put together that kind of summarizes the program, and then we'll get into some details. Being able to link business decisions to environmental decisions is really recognizing that almost everything we're dealing with these days is a multivariate challenge or a multivariate problem.
I chose the MS-ESM program because I was looking to use my business skills in a sustainability space.
I was looking to make a career pivot. I wanted something that would combine the scientific skills that I thought were needed for this field, but also had a business approach.
I chose this program because I've been working for a few years, and I realized that while I love talking about sustainability and sustainability challenges, I didn't necessarily have the tools and resources to convey that information.
One of the things I love about the MS-ESM program, and the thing that I think makes a difference for this program here at Georgetown, is the cohort model. They get to learn from each other as well as learning from the world-renowned professors and all the speakers that are coming in, both when we have a sustainability summit as well as when we invite them into our classroom.
DC is a phenomenal place for an intersection of business, policy, and passion, I would say. There's so many individuals and groups here that you can really learn a lot from in regards to the environment.
I chose this program because of Georgetown's reputation, and Washington is a great city to live in.
Georgetown University is the right place to tackle the challenges that we have with sustainability and all the facets that come with that, mostly because it is already a diverse place that has embraced diversity for years. It has embraced intersectionality of different expertise. It's very good from a standpoint of looking at where do we have the best and brightest professors and have them come together for a sum that is greater than the individual parts. All right, it's always weird to see yourself on a video, but with that in mind, hopefully that does do a good job of summarizing the ESM pillars. So as we look at the Environment and Sustainability Management Program, our priorities are the idea that we are going to be creating change makers. And if that's something you're interested in, then this is a program for you, because a lot of times, and our students will hopefully validate me in saying this, we're asking the question not only about what can be done, what are the solutions, but what are significant solutions versus incremental solutions? Where can we have significant impact? Where does the business case model actually change the scope and scale of an opportunity to make something more environmentally friendly? And a lot of that comes from the interdisciplinary education that we do. The students are going to this spring have courses that both talk about sustainable and renewable energy from a scientific standpoint and a policy standpoint and a business standpoint, right? Wind turbines only become ubiquitous and everywhere once we have an affordability model that makes them a really good investment. You can now make more money running a wind turbine than you can a coal plant. Until those numbers happen, we don't get wind turbines popping up everywhere. So that interdisciplinary education of realizing, understanding the scientific part of it and the financial part of it, being able to have professors that are able to do that, and then making sure that we're adding on top of that skills development with understanding R and data analytics and the ability to present complex data so that we can be successful. I think one of the challenges in the scientific world is we often do great analysis, and it often isn't then accessible to the general population to change behavior or to inform policy. This program is prioritized on being able to do the analysis and also be able to talk about it with a business audience or a scientific audience or a general audience and making it accessible to all of them. Part of the skills development, for example, is the idea that Bloomberg has an ESG certification that is free. The students have to spend time on the Bloomberg terminal that we have here at Georgetown, but it's an opportunity to get a certificate on top of the degree. And that's part of our focus on both the skills development and the career outcomes we want our students to have once they graduate. In addition to all these things we have with the curriculum that I'll talk about in a minute, the Washington, D.C. access is really unparalleled. And part of that is the amount of speakers we have just in D.C. that can come in and talk to us that are change leaders and thought leaders, but also the idea that we have different guest speakers that are coming through DC anyway. We had the head of Green Biz who was here to meet with people in DC and stopped by and was able to meet with our students both in the classroom as well as in a reception afterwards. This coming first week in February, we're going to have Ramon Mendez from Uruguay talk about how they transitioned to renewable energy and how they did it very quickly in a short amount of time to 98% renewable energy. So this recognition of people coming in globally as well as regionally adds to what our students get in their cohort model. We want to go to the next slide. This is a look at the program and what happens in the fall, spring, and summer semester. We go by mods, which are often 1.5 credit courses, and then some courses that stretch out over that are 3 credits over an entire semester. So as you look through this, we have a focus on the environment and business and how they're connected for climate change and business, everything from return on investment to the energy return on investment when you look at energy generation. But then we also have environmental science classes, understanding life cycle analysis, the scientific evaluation of species, of growth, of so many of the scientific concepts. And what we find is some students come in with some of this knowledge and want to really build up their business skills in accounting and finance. And we have other students that have accounting and finance acumen and want to build up their scientific skills. What that means is throughout our cohort model, our students are helping one another and learning from each other as well as from the professors and the program. If you look in here as well, in the fall, the students spent a lot of time doing data analytics, learning R, and then the visualization, the storytelling of data before they get into their other deliverables this spring, where we're talking about energy transition, the sustainable operations supply chain, business logistics, economics, things like that. And then we shift into our capstone project, as well as, I just wanted to mention here, leadership communication, ESG investing, things along those lines. But if we go to the next slide, part of this focus is also this idea of a capstone course. So I run the capstone course, which is a 3-credit course where students will be in teams of 5 and 6, and they will be, for the most part, working with sponsors in these groups to work on a custom project for that sponsored group. So in the past, this has been Amazon, Blommer Chocolate Group, which you may not know of, but they're the wholesale chocolate to all the chocolate you eat. So you're talking about a global company that wants to look at their sustainability focus and how they can be more environmentally friendly while also protecting their bottom line. The same thing, projects this last year were Department of Energy, Nexus Power Group, NIST, which is the National Institute for Standards and Technology. And from a reporting structure and sustainability, they're a key linchpin in us being successful throughout the world and being able to measure our carbon footprint. So with these small group consulting projects, the students are getting real work experience with real companies in the area of sustainability. So this is a bragging right and something to talk about in interviews, but it's also an opportunity to make connections in the work world through interviews, through projects, and then presenting their findings, their recommendations, and their analysis. If part of the challenge with this is it's a little bit vague at this point, only because each year the projects change and each year we customize the capstone so that both our sponsors are getting a great project, but especially our students are doing something that is what's needed, what's real world, what's topical, what's the push right now that companies need. And we believe this sets them up for success, not only through education, but also through the opportunities that come from it. We want to hit the next slide. Wanted to transition at this point and let us know that when we look at our group and our organization, it's 53 students this year. It will be somewhere in that ballpark this coming year. And when you look at the undergraduate majors, the experience, our international students, it's a broad range. And as we get into this, we also recognize that we want to have students from all over, because I don't want to speak for the 2 students we have on the call, but we're a better cohort because of them. And we're a better cohort because we have people from all over the world and all over the United States sharing their knowledge, their experiences, their internships and jobs, whether they were full-time or summer. But a lot of these jobs, we did a case study on insurance, and we had students that had worked in that industry that added additional insight into the program of what they're going through right now. So this idea that the cohort becomes greater than the sum of its parts is really part of what we're excited about as we look at the program. Now, Lindsay, I believe it's time to hand it off to you. And here's where you get from the expert in admissions what we're looking for the program and what it entails to be able to apply. So, Lindsay, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name's Lindsay Jamison. I'm the Associate Director of Marketing Recruitment for MS-ESM. Really excited to have you all here today. Would be really interested to know what your backgrounds are in terms of whether you're still in school or you recently graduated. So if you can, just put that in the chat or the Q&A. I'm not sure which function you can type in, but would love to know what year in school you are, or if you've recently graduated, you know, that as well, and if you're working. Thank you so much. So a question that we get a lot is, what are we looking for in applicants to this program? So we've broken it down to 3 main sections. Obviously, we're interested in someone who has intellectual curiosity, someone who's eager to learn. Next, we also are interested in finding someone who has a passion for sustainability and the environment. We want students in this program who are ready to lead the way towards a more sustainable future. And then finally, a collaborative mindset. So as Dr. Carfagno also mentioned, this program does have a cohort-based model, so you will be taking the same classes with the same students throughout your 11 months here. So we are interested in making sure you have a collaborative mindset, that you're looking to work together, learn from each other, and truly embody the Georgetown spirit. So our application components are listed to our right. We do take a holistic look at each application. So we consider all parts of your application, not just, your GPA or your recommendations. We do look through each application very thoroughly and take a holistic approach to help create a diverse cohort that brings, a lot of background and passion for sustainability. So I'll get into each component after this, but as a brief overview, we do require everyone fill out an application form with a $90 fee. I will preface this with, if you come to our information session tomorrow, which is 12:30 p.m. Eastern, I believe that's 7:30 p.m. Greece time, you will get an application reduction fee code, which will bring the fee down from $90 to $50. So if you can make it tomorrow, please try to. I'll be there giving more in-depth look at the program. And then we also will have our career coach, Christy Fraser, on the call as well to talk about all the work she does to help you in your career search while in the program. We also ask for a personal statement, essay, video essay, resume, 2 recommendations, and academic transcripts. And then we also have optional components. We have optional essays, test scores, which are optional as well, and then demonstration of English language proficiency if applicable. So our personal statement needs to be in 500 words or less, 12-point double-spaced font, and you should answer all 3 of these questions with 500 words or less. So we're interested in learning, why are you interested in the field of environment and sustainability management? Why do you want to pursue this particular degree at Georgetown University? And what are your career goals after completing the MS-ESM degree program? So this is a way for us to really get to understand why you're joining this program, how it aligns with your career goals, and why are you interested in the field overall. Our video essay, so as we mentioned, this program does operate on a cohort model, so we are really interested in seeing the type of attributes you will bring to the cohort. So we revamped our video essay question this year to be, tell us 3 things about yourself not included on your resume that you believe will be a strength to the cohort community. This does not need to be a Hollywood production. It just needs to be filmed in a well-lit room with minimal noise distractions, speaking directly to the camera. So, obviously, speaking of outside experiences not already included on your resume, and the video should also be under 2 minutes in length. And I will say, some examples that I found really interesting when speaking with prospective students. One of the students I spoke with, who was originally from Ecuador, told me that her family owns a banana plantation farm, and she's seen the effects of, environmental crisis and supply chain logistics firsthand based on her family's banana plantation farm in Ecuador. And, I thought that was super interesting. Like, obviously, she could bring a really unique perspective to the cohort when talking about, operations and supply chain logistics for sustainability. And then she also mentioned that she's like a globally renowned ballerina, and that's something that she might not include on her resume, but that would be really interesting to talk about. Obviously, being in a competitive sport like that requires a lot of dedication. That would be something that I would think would be interesting to talk about on your video essay, to share that you have the stamina and, the desire to work really hard at your goals and things like that. So the next portion of our application is the CV or resume. This is your chance to quantify your accomplishments and volunteer experiences. Should be 1 to 2 pages in length, and you should address any employment gaps of over 3 months in your optional essay. 2 recommendations. We want these individuals who can speak to your academic or professional performance. These recommenders should be academic or professional. Family members, colleagues, peers are strongly discouraged. If you have to use, colleagues or peers, definitely write about it in your optional essay and talk about why you have to do that. But ideally, you would be using one academic, one professional recommender. And then also, these people should be individuals who can objectively evaluate your academic or professional performance, managerial or leadership potential. So just keeping that in mind with who you select for your recommenders. Academic transcripts. So at this point in the application stage, they should be unofficial. They should clearly show your full name, academic institution, mailing address, and all courses and grades received. If your academic institution is not be able to provide your transcripts in English, a translation or a credit evaluation should be submitted. Not all credit evaluations are required, but can be submitted in place of a translation. And I will also say, in terms of English proficiency, if you finished your undergraduate degree at a university that conducted their classes in English, then you do not have to provide documentation or your test scores for English language proficiency. These optional components are also included on this page. We have a diversity, personal background, and contributions essay. Test scores, as I mentioned, so the GRE, GMAT are all optional. Additional information essay. So this is the chance for you to talk about, inconsistencies in academic performance, gaps in employment, voluntary or non-paid experience related to environment or sustainability management, or any other relevant information you feel that the committee should know. So tuitions and scholarships, this current academic year tuition is $73,230. That's based on 30 credit hours taken through the School of Graduate School of Arts and Sciences. This does not include, books, supplies, room and board, food, etc. This is just for tuition. But we do offer partial scholarships to help build a competitive and diverse class. So as you know, Els recently spoke about the Fulbright scholarship. We also have a scholarship that Georgetown's offering to students who have received the Fulbright scholarship. We also offer merit-based scholarships with our program directly. And you are considered at the time of when you submit your application for your scholarship as well. So you don't have to do anything different. You just have to submit your application, and your application will automatically be considered for scholarship at that time. And finally, these are the application deadlines. So round 1 has already passed, but you guys are in luck. Round 2 is coming up right around the time the Fulbright scholarship is also due. So January 30th is round 2 application deadline. You would find out end of March, and the deposit deadline would be April 30th. Round 3 admissions deadline would be April 3rd. You would find out mid-May, and deposit deadline would be June 3rd. And those are really the 2 rounds that we say international students should be applying for because of going through the visa process and whatnot. We want to give you enough time for that. Now going to pass it on to our 2 fantastic students that have joined us today. They are both from Athens, Greece, and they're going to talk a little bit about their experience being in the MS-ESM program.
Thank you, Lindsay, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Kalispera. I'm Demi. I'm joined tonight by Lisa. Lisa, if you can
Hello, Kalispera.
So we're very excited to talk to you guys a little bit about our experience in the program, maybe some takeaways and what we found to be unique about our courses. So Lisa, would you like to kick us off?
Yes, sure. So we're going to share some of the reasons that we chose this program. So for me, after my work experience, which was marketing and comms with companies that have very high in their corporate agenda, some sustainability initiatives, I decided that I wanted to study sustainability. So I was trying to find a degree from a very well-established university like Georgetown that combines both environmental science and business, and I have found that in Georgetown University. So I chose this program in particular because, as we mentioned, I believe that it will provide me a more holistic perspective on environmental issues because it integrates also the economic and social dimensions, which I believe are very crucial.
Yeah, I definitely echo everything that Lisa just touched on, but I also want to highlight here the access to Washington, D.C. and the surrounding area. So my undergraduate degree was also from a U.S. school in D.C., and you know that DC is literally the capital of the world. So everything is at your fingertips if you so choose. And of course, Virginia and Maryland have lots to offer too and are in very close proximity. I actually met my favorite band at a radio station in Maryland, so that was exciting. But also, if you're a wild soul and enjoy being in nature, you love Georgetown, Maryland, Virginia, just everywhere, like all of the surrounding areas.
Yeah, definitely. That's very important too. So Demi had her undergraduate degree from the US. I studied in Athens, specifically at the Athens University of Economics and Business. And I also hold a minor degree from the American College of Greece. So I have experienced both the public and the private sector in universities in Greece. So they're very different. They have very different educational systems. In Greece, as you may know, the system emphasizes on building more theoretical foundations and also mastering the content of the lectures. Whereas in the US, the system focuses on critical thinking, practical applications of the knowledge provided, which I have found to be very useful. So one of the biggest differences that I have encountered in the US is that there is an emphasis on class participation, interactive learning, and also all of our classes are very discussion-based.
And to add on to that, something that I have found very engaging is that we can essentially tailor and personalize assignments within our classes to our own interests. So we're never blindly given a project and told to work on it. We actually get to leverage on our interests and our passions, which obviously encourages a very strong work ethic and involvement. So if there's a specific sustainability facet that feels closer to you, you can always pitch it to the faculty, Dr. Carfagno, and they'll definitely work on integrating it. And specifically for our programming class, because yes, we did programming and coding in this program, Lisa and I actually chose to analyze data relating to wildfires in Greece. And as per Lisa's idea, we'll be working with one of our professors to turn our preliminary work into a research paper and hopefully publish it after we're completed it. So that's exciting, Lisa.
Yeah, that's very exciting. And I'm so glad that we're doing this together. So these projects have actually helped us both understand that we now have the knowledge to address sustainability issues in our country, and also we're capable of building a more sustainable future as we go on. So we are very thankful of all of the opportunities that they have offered us. And also I want to mention that being part of the Earth Commons Greece that actually started this year is also a very unique experience, and we're very eager to work on more projects like that.
Mm-hmm. And to close this off, I would also like to emphasize the diversity of backgrounds that our classmates and our cohort bring to the table. We have polymer engineers, financial advisors, marketing experts, people with extensive experience in public policy, and even some professional chefs. Yes. So our discussions are always very rich and they really draw you in, even if you're a little bit intimidating of speaking up. And I'm sure Dr. Carfagno can attest to this, but we've actually fallen behind on class material a couple of times because our discussions would just drag on and even our professors would get sucked in. So, very, very stimulating discussions, very a huge variety in perspective. So that's
something that certainly happens a lot. So we would like to thank you all for listening.